Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Hopefully you guys can hear us well. Make sure as you check in, you smash that like button. That is your attendance for the channel. I already see jokes being cracked. We apologize for being a few minutes late here. I see the delay of game penalty jokes on us. So we apologize. We do appreciate everybody coming in and spending time with us. So Tran, it seems like we took a bye week, and then everybody in the country wants to take a bye week. I don't know if people were having some fun Halloween parties and ended up getting COVID or what, but it's a lot going on in the college football realm with Texas having a week off.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we kind of expected that this was going to happen. I didn't think it would happen this late in the season to this degree where SEC is just like, we just don't want to play this week type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I'm glad we have a bye week. Keandre could get healthy during this bye week. Sam could get healthier this bye week. Joshua Moore can get healthier this bye week. So I'm just worried about us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah. I am, but I'm also worried for the landscape of college football because it is concerning when this many games gets postponed. I feel like we've played so many games. We started losing some of that thankfulness for each week we get by.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had a whole bunch of postpones and cancellations once everything's gotten rolling until Wisconsin, had their situation. And now, Ohio State and Maryland are being postponed. So you start to wonder, like, at what point does it get, to a point where they're like, we either can't do the makeup games or whatever. I'm thankful, that Texas, we haven't been in that situation where we've had to postpone, because I think that can screw you up. I'm thankful that once we've started, we've been able to get every game in. Even in the Big 12, Baylor's had issues, right? So it needs to be one of those things, though, looking back at, we need all of our partners in other conferences from a bowl perspective, from a playoff perspective. Not that playoffs are in the cards for any of us, but
Yeah.
To see the whole outlook of college football. But to your point, getting to Texas, right? This is a week where we get healthy, and I think a lot of people are focused on the health of Sam Ehlinger, despite Tom Herman's comments of, him saying the other day, where's all this Sam Ehlinger's injured talk coming from? What are you guys talking about? But
we're watching the same games you are.
yeah. Well, and then somebody made a great point. I think that's exactly what it is, right? He knows he's injured. It's just that you can't come out there and say it, right? Like, you're going to tell everybody that your quarterback is 100% ready to go, right? You know what I mean? For gamesmanship, make sure nobody's coming in on your guys. So I think that is something that, his health, Keandre Coburn, who I'm gonna get your take on this. Coburn in particular, he had an ankle injury?
Mild ankle sprain.
Mild ankle sprain. I would sit him versus Kansas, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I would too. I would give him an extra week.
I agree with you. Honestly, if Keandre is the reason why we're winning this game, Herman's gone. I mean, that week, honestly, I mean, we should be able to waltz in there and beat them by at least 3 touchdowns.
Sure.
Yeah. So I agree with you. We need him. We need him for the Iowa State game. We need him for the Kansas State game. So, I think we need him as healthy as possible for the in part of our schedule. So I agree with you. I would err on the side of caution with him because he's that important to our defensive line.
And you got really good football out of T'Vondre Sweat when he had to carry the bag, right? And
even Gorham
Welsh.
Welsh. Yeah, he played a couple good snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then when you put him next to an Alfred Collins or a Taquan Graham, they're still formidable. Like, they're still like and that's what we talk about when we were like, hey, we want to get to the great defensive lines of some of these other teams, is when you have those rotations, there are no drop offs. People pick up the reps and whatnot. So I think these guys, everybody on the defensive line has just done a phenomenal job. They did not have drop off when Keandre got hurt. Now nobody handles the double team like Keandre, and, or you could say outside of Joseph Osai has the motor that he has and how he moves, especially pound for pound, right? But Tavondre Sweat was making plays, dude.
Yeah, he played
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, so he can he'll be one of the best players on the field against Kansas.
Hmm.
Not worried about that, and I want a healthy. We need Keandre for Iowa State dealing with
Yeah,
their run game, right? And I hate looking ahead against opponents. Um, but Kansas should be the get right game for the offense, and we should be able to
yeah.
blow them out in Lawrence. They're really really bad. Um,
Yes, they're extremely bad. So if we're playing with this team, I hate to just overlook a team like you said, but if we don't beat them by halftime, there's an issue. I mean, we are way more talented than they are, and we're playing for something. They're not. So,
yeah, and they've lost their best player, Puka Williams, and
hmm
you know, and they've got to come out and just maul them, right? But from a standpoint of what you want to see in this game, I do think counter to that, and let me know how you guys think in the comments. I do want to see Jordan Whittington play in this game. He needs the reps, right? And I think from a confidence standpoint of just making it through a game healthy and playing the following week, I think that matters when you've been injured all the time. I think that was a big deal for Jake Smith the other week. And they're young, they haven't played a lot of football. I would love to see them implement Jordan Whittington back into the lineup if he's ready to go for the Kansas game.
I agree. And I know everyone's talking about, should we sit Sam for that game too? If he's ready to go, I want him to play. He needs to get some confidence going with his receivers. And I mean, even if it's only a halftime, type of thing. I think our offensive line has been getting a push recently on the defensive line, and this is where they can actually get some confidence themselves as well, and push around a lesser competition. So
Yeah, and we're just chatting tonight. We're gonna let you guys kind of drive the chat
yeah,
to some degree because it's it's been a while since we've come on here and done a live. And by the way, make sure you're hitting that like button. We're over 100 folks in here right now. We really appreciate it. I agree, Braden. Jay Witt needs to play a lot, get those reps. We a lot of conversation this week, so I want to pivot the conversation here because there's a couple things that I want to make sure we touch on. A lot of conversation this week regarding personnel, right? I mentioned in the recap video regarding the running back rotation and the pass catchers, right? Because we can factor tight ends into that too. So just the overall offensive, all the OWs, the offensive weapons, a lot of questionable rotations, a lot of Kai Money. No disrespect to Kai Money, really good player. I think they charted though he played like almost I think 21 snaps last game, and so you're looking at all these guys like if those snaps plus more turn into Jordan Whittington, what's the upside for your football team, right? If Bijan Robinson can go from what do you have, 15 touches? I think I think he ran 12 times and caught 3 passes. I could be wrong on that. He had 15 or 16 touches. If Bijan can get up to 20 plus, I understand them keeping him below 25. That makes sense to me. But when somebody's running early as well as they are, you can't have these lulls where he goes. There's like 3 drives that go by. He's not touching the ball. Now, I also will say this before I let you go, Tran. Another thing that factors into their carries being down is they getting 3 and out so fast.
hmm
Their plays are down. You remember before the season they were talking about they want to run 80 plus plays a game. Well, you can't do that if you get out there and you're going this quick 3 and out. Nobody's getting touches, right? Um, they should be able also to get the running backs a little bit more carries. If Sam Ellinger's hurt, because he was taking up 15 carries himself. People are talking about Roshan Johnson and Bijan Robinson and Keontae Ingram.
Keontae, yeah,
But Sam Ellinger, as far as I know, he's leading the team in rushing, right? So he's RB1. He has like 7 rushing touchdowns and the most yards on the team, right? Running the football. So all those little things and intricacies factor into the numbers and the output. But I just wanted to get your take on the rotations we have here, because I know that's a big talking point in our fan base right now.
Now we're talking about which rotation? Are we talking about running back rotation?
You can start wherever you want, because I want to talk about both.
Okay, so
Both are or there's questions, I should say.
So I am a big proponent of running back by committee. My whole philosophy changed from a featured back the year that Jonathan Gray went down, and that when he blew out his Achilles. To me, you got it. Yeah, because what we're missing from a Texas standpoint is getting people drafted, and we have 3 studs right now that should be drafted in an NFL draft. I'm not saying they should be first, second, third, fourth. They should be drafted within the first 7 rounds of an NFL draft. One thing that they like to look at is usage rate. So I want to have consistent carries across the board with this team, but sometimes you just have to run with the hot hand.
Right.
And now that we're down 1 back, Bijan was obviously he had that second gear. Yes, he had that second gear. So and we weren't putting him in position to fail. We weren't putting him between the tackles. We were getting him where he could actually utilize his athleticism, get out into open space. I mean, we saw that in the first play of the game. We saw that on that spin stiff arm, which I still think that he stayed in bounds. Watching that over and over again.
That was supposed to be an 80+ yard touchdown, by the way.
Yeah. And
which was like ended up being
reel.
But that ended up being, I don't know, a 12-yard run. Like
12-yard,
whatever
with the penalty, yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of what he gets credit for, right? Like he should have got credit for an 80+ yard touchdown run. That was BS. That was BS.
And that would have been I think that would have been a top play, honestly, because of the spin, the stiff arm, the second stiff arm, staying in bounds.
Dustin Smith and Frank, thank you guys for your donations. Hook 'em, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead, Tran. I'm sorry. I just wanted to acknowledge the donation.
No. I mean, that's why I said I definitely want to see all of our running backs touch the ball. I think all of them are a value to our team. They bring different ability to handle tote the rock. I think Keontae, once he's healthy, he's one of those quick twitch guys who could actually lower his pads. Roschon is just, I think he should be in for every short yardage play. He's just one of those guys who just finds the sticks. I think we got stopped on a 4th and 1 when Bijan was in, because his body isn't acclimated yet to the college game, and he gets hit once and spun, and that made us miss the. I don't think Roschon.
And he got turned around.
Yeah,
he got turned around on it. And I said to you, that's the one run where Roschon's the guy that I know would have gotten the first down in that situation, just how he runs, right? And I always say this with running backs.
Great pad level.
Right. Styles make fights. So there's a few things, since we're talking running backs right now, because I think a lot of people they only focus on the running backs and they don't focus on the variables. So the variables, right? Your offensive line is a major one. And from a standpoint of blocking, from a standpoint of, just getting me, penalties, holding penalties, just things that can deter you, right? Your quarterback is a factor in terms of checks, in terms of making the correct reads and run. We've both acknowledged that Sam has had some issues reading the defensive end at times and give, when he's not supposed to, or, vice versa. And then the other thing is, there are certain situations where, because we have 3 guys that have different styles as runners, one person's going to be more productive versus another team than somebody else. Now I'm at the point where I believe Bijan Robinson should be getting majority of the carries from a standpoint, if you look at their distribution of who's getting the ball, he should get the most carries per se, or have the most touches. Because I'm more so looking at it like touches. football's evolving right now to where, especially with the running back position, you're not really just metricing on touches. Like this narrative of like you need to give the running back 25 to 30 touches, that's 1990s, mid 2000s football. Like it doesn't necessarily work that way anymore, right? Like you want to get people some carries, but you also want to get them catches out of the backfield, right? And that's Texas won the game, iced the game that way, right? With Bijan running a wheel route. So as much as he's getting, just straight up carries, he needs to also be featured in the passing game. The good thing is all three guys can catch the football. We saw Roschon Johnson's caught touchdowns. He's caught balls on swing routes. Keontae Ingram right now is probably our best guy in terms of the screen game and how he reads it. He's the best in terms of pass protection, which is very, very important when you have a beat up quarterback and an offensive line that is struggling. Here's the other thing. All these guys have shown they can be very, very productive runners. Keontae Ingram averaged 6 yards a carry last season. Bijan Robinson right now is averaging 5.7, and I think Keontae and Roschon are at like 4.7 yards per carry. Correct me if I'm wrong. But why have their yards per carry gone down? I think I married that with the offensive line. Last year, when they had a little bit better run blocking, Keontae was at 6 yards a carry. Roschon was at 5 yards a carry. The year before, and this is the other thing we do, right? So 2018, it was Trey Watson, a little bit of Daniel Young. Daniel Young kind of got phased out. It was Trey Watson, and then eventually Keontae. Everybody at that time was coming on here like, we got to give Keontae more carries, like because he was the new guy. He was the new recruit, and that everybody was excited about. So 2018, it was we got to get Keontae more carries. 2019 happens. Roschon Johnson, we got to get him more carries. We got to get him more touches, more carries. Now Bijan's here. All right, it's Roschon and Bijan last game. We got to get Bijan all the touches, more touches. When your offensive line is good, it doesn't matter as much, right? Like I didn't hear Alabama fans complaining between Damian Harris, Najee Harris, and Josh Jacobs. Like they all ate, and they're all like, you know what I mean? Like, or if you go way back in the day, not way back in the day, way back in the day for us. What about Reggie Bush and Lindell White? Didn't they split carries? I went and looked this up today in Reggie Bush's alleged Heisman season in 2005. He only had over 20 carries in 3 games the whole season. Their whole thing was, we want you getting explosive touches. Right, and I'm talking about carries because obviously he was a huge part in the passing game as well, right? But the point is, and this is something they said at the very beginning of the season that I think a lot of people miss: explosive touches. So there's a way that everybody can be involved. Now, it's not going to be like Wisconsin is another running back by committee situation where it was at one point James White, Monty Ball, for those who don't remember Monty Ball, and Melvin Gordon. And all of those brothers had 10 plus touchdowns and all sorts of success, right? We don't run that type of offense. We definitely don't have that type of offensive line. But I definitely think we can be a little bit more productive with all 3 guys if we can do a better job as a football team. That's my whole thing with the rotation. But I do agree, when somebody's hot and making the plays that Bijan Robinson's making, I think they have to do a little bit of better job of sticking with that and making sure he's getting his snaps in the game.
Yeah, I agree completely. I'm like I said, I'm a big proponent of the running back by committee. I do also think you have to monitor the carries as well, because we saw what happened when Keontae busted off a 70-yard seam route pass play, and then
they left him in the game.
Yeah.
Those are some misses, and their argument was they're trying to go tempo and things like that. Like, so that's a good call out, right? Like,
so why are they going tempo? I know we're just hashing on bad wounds, but why are they going tempo when we were controlling the clock? But no,
that's a Tom Herman problem.
It was it was irresponsible. I mean, you throw the guy in, any one of us, it doesn't matter what type of shape we're in. We're sprinting 80 yards. We're gonna take a good 30-second break.
And then the next play, I think he had like a 12-yard run before he fumbled, right? Like, so it's like at that point, definitely pull him. You know what I mean? Like, but we those are some of the things we've continued just to miss on. So moving over to the wide receiver thing, right? Like, excuse me, you can't open drives with Brendan Schooler, Kai Money, and Brendan and Tariq Black.
Mhm.
Every time they did that, or Brendan, like, remember I kept looking at you while we were at the game. I'm like,
No, you
they,
didn't look at me. You smacked me in the arm. You go, "What are we doing?" But
as soon
you
as they
had it.
came out, wait,
Yeah.
I hadn't even seen them call
It's
play.
like-
I'm like, where's Jake Smith? Where's Joshua Moore? Like, why are we doing? Like, it's just giving it away. It was just giving it away to West Virginia, right? Like,
that we're running the ball.
we're either running the ball or we did the swing pass that we don't have the personnel to block for. It was just like your alignments and your personnel decisions. Like, it took us until last game for us to like really just full blown start Jarrett Wiley.
Yeah.
But we've been seeing this all season. But you waited till. That's why people. That's one of the reasons why people are frustrated with the coaching staff in some of these regards. They deserve some credit this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball,
Mhm.
with how they've come along with this team. 100%. But offensively, when we're struggling like this, I don't want to see that trio come out there when you're on the struggle bus. They've got to play more your receivers, because that's not the same type of discussion we're having with the running backs, right? In terms of, you know, body wise and all those type of things. It's not the same type of beating on the body. You can play more snaps if you're a receiver, right? Like like even Texas, like before, another guy, and this is another reason why Texas is not going to be in the business of loading up on running backs. Deonta Foreman, who we just got to see play on the Titans. He's backing up Derrick Henry now.
Mhm.
They ruined. And it's not just he was eating too. The boy was eating, and he wasn't keeping himself in shape. But he had like 400, almost 450 touches
He had
his
50.
last
He had
year.
50 carries against Kansas.
Kansas, yeah. So yeah, he's about 12 months. He gonna blow out his Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Just like Christian McCaffrey in the league right now. Everybody's like, oh, he had 100 catches and all these touches as a running back, and then he's gonna get like his body's not. He's not gonna stay healthy the following season. Anyway, going back to the wide receivers, I can't take this anymore with how they're rotating them, Tran. And I don't understand why they can't work somebody else into the slot, one of these other young guys, whether it's a Cavante Dixon or even Alvante Woodard. If he try somebody else out in there to give you some snaps. I mean, I know Whittington's coming back, but it's just frustrating.
No, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, you have these. I get what he's trying to do with Schooler, honestly, because and Tariq Black, they want to show grad transfers that, hey, we will play you if you come here. You will get the
Then Jake,
snaps.
if you want to do that, then Jake
Yeah.
Smith needs to be in the game with them
Yes,
in
I
the slot.
agree.
That's it.
You need to have it where you can put them in a position to succeed, and you have matchups all over the field, as opposed to, oh, this guy's mine. I mean, or we're running the ball. You have to hide it a little. And yeah, it's frustrating. I think Whittington will help out a lot because the slot spot will just it'll be locked down. I just hope that both of them could stay healthy, because it seems like when one of them comes back, the other one gets injured.
Yeah, we haven't seen them together. And I'm not saying Tariq Black or Brendan Schooler shouldn't play. I don't want that misconstrued for anybody in the
Yeah,
chat. I know you understand that, Tran, but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
um, they need their snaps. I'm not, and I don't mind when Kai Money occasionally comes in. I'm just saying they can't all be on the, like, you can't sub everybody at the same time. Either Joshua Moore needs to be out there, something where the defense is still like you can't just let everybody off the hook for a whole drive. I would love to know what the analytics are of like yards per play and how many first downs we've gotten when we've done that for a series. Just curious. Maybe one of the
With with
stat
with
guys
the,
out there
with that that
with
wide
that
receiver
grouping.
lineup.
Yeah. Versus when you have your normal right now, your normal Brennan Eagles, Jake Smith, Joshua Moore.
I bet you it drops down
Curious.
drastically.
Yeah.
I
So
I can just assume it does. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the rotations need to tighten up. I do. I do believe that especially down the stretch. You
Don't you
have
feel like we're having this conversation
way too
every
often.
year though?
Yeah, way too often. Yes.
I feel like I
It's
feel like
Groundhog
I
Day.
heard myself talking about this the last 2 seasons. They just rotating especially the receivers, they're just rotating them so much. I'm like, I don't see other teams rotating their, like when I watch OU, I see Marvin Mims, the OEs, like they're always out there.
Do you think
Maybe
it's a
I'm wrong.
conditioning thing?
I don't think so. No, I don't see
I'm
people.
just
It's not like
that
we're
makes
running
no
go
sense.
routes every play.
You would think that they want their best players out there all the time,
You would
as
think.
much as possible, unless it's a hey double tap on the helmet situation.
I don't know. It's just, but it makes you think. Um, if there's other things going on in play to keep guys happy. I don't know. But then again, it's like Kai Money's out there 21 snaps, so and he doesn't have scholarships. I don't know who you're trying to keep happy and who you're not. Make sure you hit the like button. My light is tripping. Trying to see.
See any good questions so far, Jordan?
Brian T, what was your question from earlier? It was about Urban Meyer, but or something.
Was it a lot earlier?
Mm.
Because I saw something about firing Tom Herman and Urban Meyer, of course.
Okay, there you go. He said, Stephen and Tran, at the moment, would you rather keep Herman or have a deal being finalized with Urban, and why?
So
Thanks for making sure everybody hits the like button. We're almost at 100 likes.
So personally, if we're gonna get Urban, we're gonna win. I think we're gonna lock down recruiting. People are gonna want to come play for him. I'm still riding with Tom Herman until he's gone. I don't unless we get someone. I've actually played this scenario out in my head. What other coach should we get if Urban declines our offer? There is no one, and then
There's not a realistic option.
Yeah, we're stuck in the same position. We'll have to pay another coach 2 years down the line a boatload of money until we can find someone that can handle this position.
I completely agree. My thing is right now. So Tran, what was your prediction for this? I remember what it was. I'm gonna see if you remember what your prediction was for our record.
8-2.
It was 8-2.
Yep.
Your record is still in play. Now it will be an ugly 8-2 if we do it.
We've talked about this. I said it wasn't the 2 games that I thought we were going to lose, honestly.
But if they go 8-2, aren't they playing in Dallas?
Yes, we control our destiny. If we went out, we're in Dallas.
Right. So I don't know. Honestly, if they're 8-2 and they go to Dallas, to me, win or lose, and I've thought about this. Unless Urban Meyer is 100% in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not opposed to firing a coach even after a good season. We've talked about this in various sports. I'll rehash that here in a few seconds. But unless Urban Meyer is 100% in the bag, and you're talking about, okay, we go to the Big 12 championship, we're 8-2, we lose, we're 8-3. I don't know how you can just if Urban Meyer's not in the bag, I don't know how you can just fire somebody during a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
With the way the school funds are, and you don't have
playing for your second Big 12 championship.
Right. I don't you're not going to fire a 8-3 Tom Herman to go hire PJ Fleck. Okay. There's not another alternative. So he would literally need to be in the bag.
Yes.
Right. The other thing is, and so I've said this before, same token. Let's say they go 7-3, they still win or what, they win the Big 12, and they decide they still want to get Urban Meyer. I'm not opposed to that if they can do it, because we have seen in sports teams say, you know what, we love you. You got us to this point. We know you can get us here, but we're looking for somebody to get us to the Clemson level. We're looking for somebody to get us. We think we can be Alabama, and we're going to shoot for it, and that's why we're doing it.
we need to be competing for a playoff spot every single year.
Right. Then
That's
I think that's justified, right? Like the Chicago Bulls, I use this example all the time. And it's not an apples to apple example. But 1989 they fired Doug Collins after going to the Eastern Conference Finals and
finals. Yep.
losing to the Detroit Pistons in like 7 games.
Mhm.
And they fired Doug Collins because they're like, "Yo, you have Michael Jordan. We need to be winning championships." Now, the difference is Phil Jackson at the time, he ended up becoming the greatest, arguably the greatest basketball coach ever. But I think it's Greg Popovich, but Phil got a lot more hardware. But at the time, Phil Jackson was an assistant coach, but they knew what Phil was, so they made the move. So you see teams do this sometimes, where it's like think about that, right? Like the Toronto Raptors, Eastern Conference Finals, they fired Dwayne Casey. They go to the bench, get a Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse year one uh, wins the championship, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes you got to make moves like that. A lot of people here are saying Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan would actually be my favorite person. He's my favorite coach in football.
Yeah.
I think I told you that before, Trey.
No,
I
I love him here.
I would love him here. I don't think it's realistic though. I don't see how
He's
he
not. He's
leaves.
an NFL guy.
He's an NFL guy. He wants to. To me, it sounds like he wants to surpass his father. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, the argument too is the recruiting aspect, right? Because recruiting right now is bad. Now we did pick up some steam this week with the crystal balls going to Jaden Blue. And shout out to Jaden Blue. He came through our Instagram live last week, so it was good to see him on the channel. And Terrence Cooks. I think we picked up a crystal
Mhm.
ball for him too. So they've gotten a little bit more uptick there this past week. I would say
Thanks to
that's
the
a good.
defense playing well. Thank
It's
you,
a good week.
defense.
They need to be sending all of Joseph Osai's tape
Tape to everyone. That could be
to.
you.
Well, it needs to go to Jatavian Sanders right now.
Yes. Yes.
Like this is, you know what I mean? Look, send
This
him the
could be
mock
you.
draft. Send him everything.
Yeah.
No, send them
Hey,
all.
I actually have something to ask you. This hasn't been brought up in the chat yet. I saw today that Texas hired its first entrepreneur teacher. What do you make of that with leverage being released and everything like that?
Oh man, pay for play, name, image, likeness, the whole shebang, man. I mean,
Do you think that's a selling point actually?
I mean, that's all Texas can do right now. This goes back to the culture stuff, right? Like they've got to ride that wave there and be creative there. And then here's what's frustrating, right? Texas in that department, and I will say this: the last 5 years, in my opinion, they have upgraded all of these people, right? Like social media team is fire now. They're not yet at the LSU level of fire, but they're getting there. They really are. They're one of the best in college football, in my opinion, because I do
Mhm.
keep eyes on what different, because I want to see how other people are being creative and trying to recruit kids on social media. Like Texas volleyball today, like they released a thing where they were unfollowing and blocking Baylor volleyball, and they made a video and then they showed how they be like it was dope, like real creative, good content, like just
Love it.
flat out good content, right? Like and it was petty. I love it, right? Like we're stepping our game up in that regard. We stepped up the locker room, like all the things that we can control outside of the stadium upgrades are
Hmm.
coming. Like we were just there and we were talking about, wow, okay, we can see being at the games when we have our
Where it's
home games,
packed out. Yeah.
right? Like we can see we in person, we can see the progress they're making. The thing is you got to be able, we're still not able to sell the first two things: wins and player
Drafts.
development.
Yeah.
Player development factoring into the NFL draft, right? Like a lot of people asking me this week, do we have a chance to bring back Joseph Osai? If is he going to come back to Texas?
We kind of don't
Uh,
want him back, honestly.
well, I mean,
I mean, we definitely selfishly we do want him back,
selfishly, but for
but
his sake and for the sake of it dispelling all this nonsense in recruiting, yeah, I would always want my best player to come back. However, if he can go and get life changing money. He's already battling a shoulder injury. He was hurt last year. He's been hurt 2 years in a row. Go get paid.
Hmm.
Go get paid. Go get
Get
drafted
drafted
in the first
highly.
round.
Yeah.
Get drafted high
Yeah.
while you're healthy.
We have
We
a
need that.
possible two people going to be drafted in the first round. A possible between him and Sam Cosmi.
So, and here's
It's
the other thing
huge.
too, right? Like a lot of Texas fans right now, I've noticed a lot of people are like, oh, either they feel some type of way about the NFL, right? Like they either don't watch the NFL right now, or they're like, I haven't paid much attention. Even if you don't have a team, a lot of us do have a team. Many of you that follow this channel are also Cowboys fans, like we are. But for those of you who have kind of soured on the NFL, let me ask you this, Tran. Do you think that we've soured on the NFL because we haven't had a whole bunch of we have Texas players in the NFL that are playing well,
Yes.
but stars, right? Like in terms of like those people you see like Julio Jones and
like a
people
top
out.
50 player
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that.
Like, do you
like
think
Earl
that
Thomas was our last one, and he was up there for a while, but we don't have a top 50 player in the league. We may not even have a top 100 player, unless they count Justin Tucker as because he's clutch as a field goal kicker. So,
I
but
think that factors into the perception? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. It's like, but no one's really saying, "Oh man, they got a great kicking game." I need to go there. No one's saying that. No offense, but it's great to see people like Deshaun Elliott ball out. I saw him get a sack the other weekend off of a blitz.
We got
Poona
guys
Ford,
playing well.
Poona Ford.
We got guys playing well. It's just my issue is Deshaun Elliott was what, a 6th-round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these guys, Poona Ford was a 7th-round pick. They haven't.
I thought Poona went undrafted.
Oh, sure. You may. Yeah, you're right. He did go undrafted.
Because we were pissed about that.
Yeah. But my point is, they haven't been getting paid.
Yeah.
And they still haven't been paid. Like it's still going to be a couple years until they get their money. Like it took Quandre Diggs how many years to get paid, right? Like that stuff matters even when you get into the league, right? And then other schools can come in and say, well, so and so's balling, but if he had gone to LSU, he would have been in the 2nd round, right? Like that matters. I'll also say this, Texas fans, think about it this way, because I know a lot of I have a lot of friends that are Red Raiders fans, Texas Tech. You know how many people that are Texas Tech fans, when I ask them about football, the first thing they say is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm dead ass serious.
Everyone.
They celebrated that Kansas City Super Bowl
like it was their championship.
Yeah. That matters, right? Like, could you imagine if Sam Ehlinger, and he just go with me hypothetically, like if he went to the Chicago Bears or the Indianapolis Colts.
I'll go a little bit further on that Texas Tech thing. They either mention Mahomes or they mention Kingsbury balling out.
They're proud.
His offense is tearing apart a lot of NFL defenses. So that's and to their credit, yeah, they are. I mean, you can't deny them what they're producing.
Those Texas Tech people, they talk about Kansas City like it's their team, because at the end of the day, when you have real stars, right, and you fall in love with them in college, you keep watching them every year when they go to the pros. And it's been hard for us for so long because, like, I remember when Ricky Williams, when the Saints traded the bag to get him, right? Do you know how invested? I'm not even a Saints fan. Do you know how invested I was every freaking carry he took? And when he was struggling early, I was there making excuses. I didn't even care about the Saints, right? Or Vince Young. Vince Young's probably the last like huge one that I can recall, where it was like when he came out, like I was defending him. Brian, you're bringing up Baker Mayfield for OU, but look how OU fans make all the excuses in the world for his play on the Browns. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, they're watching the games because they invested in the players, because their guys are stars. Texas fans, it's hard for us because, the people that aren't truly invested, into the league, it's hard for you to watch the league if your players aren't there. I think that does make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see the correlation completely.
Like
the
if
last
we
big
had a
one,
Patrick Mahomes,
oh,
you know what I mean?
we'd
Everybody
be.
would be.
There goes that Texas boy. There goes that Texas boy. I think the last player for me, it was either Earl or is Brian Arakpo. You know, those were
You're just
my
invested.
guys.
Yeah.
Yes, where I would watch every one of their games.
It matters, man. It matters.
I
yes,
agree. VY was sabotaged.
I would say 80% sabotage.
Yeah.
20% him.
Well, I mean, he could
He
have
carries.
sabotaged himself. Yeah.
Well, actually, let me rephrase. 60% Jeff Fisher, 10% the org, 10% his uncle, and the rest on VY.
Yeah.
Sad. And also the time frame, right? Like of when he was in the league. The offense is like Vince Young coming out of college with the right coordinator. And like look at Kyler Murray, right? Like Kyler Murray, everybody like Kyler Murray is spectacular. And it's funny because he's tearing up the NFL the same way he tore up the Big 12. But the Big 12 was the one getting the bad rap about the defense. But he's in the NFL doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? Like, so, but he got to go in a perfect offense with Cliff Kingsbury, who, like, he's over there as a rookie teaching Larry Fitzgerald the verbiage because it's the offense he's always been running. Comfort versus Vince Young coming in under Norm Chow, and they're telling him he's got to take 3-step drop in West Coast offense. Like, and he's like, bro, put me in the spread. Like, what are we doing?
And to me, it was just a stupid coaching decision because they had Chris Johnson in the backfield. They should have been in the spread. So
in 2020, they would be.
Oh yeah,
right.
And they would be
just
falling
spreading it around. Right. 2020. That's those same weapons. It's crazy. Like the game hadn't caught up yet to some degree. Like it was starting to get there with RG3. He got hurt because his body wasn't built well. But, you even look at like Lamar Jackson. Like there's no shame to it now. Cam Newton, all these guys that came that I think Vince Young in a lot of ways. Let me not say Vince Young too. Like Cordell Stewart was a big part of it. There were other guys, Michael Vick, obviously. But Michael Vick, the thing about Michael Vick was Michael Vick could play in any offense because he had those natural skills as a passer. Yes. Yeah. Michael Vick was, to me, like him being in a West Coast offense with run concepts wasn't as big a deal. He just didn't develop up here the way he should have until he got out of prison. But Vince Young, skill set wise, should have been, of the bigger guys that are mobile like that, should have been featured that way. Randall Cunningham's like the godfather of it. Good examples there, guys, of guys who were just showcased, right? And just let them do their thing. We tried to put handcuffs on Vince Young when he got, but then the last 2 minutes of every Tennessee Titans game, what happened? Oh, Vince, save us! And then all of a sudden he's doing his thing again, right?
Superman, yeah.
Somebody brought up Steve McNair. Warren Moon
that was his idol.
Was a pocket guy. Yeah. And you know what's even funnier with that? Rest in peace, Steve McNair. Mm-hmm. How the Titans handled that situation when they locked Steve out of the building and he went to the Ravens, and like, why didn't Steve McNair hang around for a year in Tennessee with Vince? Like, knowing what they knew, and I know they invested like a third-round pick. Or I'm sorry, not third-round pick, the number 3 overall pick for Vince Young. But like just having that 1 year with Steve McNair, I think could have done a lot for Vince Young's career. Just to kind of just sit and watch. But Tennessee wasn't thinking that way.
No, they weren't thinking a lot.
Oklahoma State versus OU. Who you guys got? It's a huge game. OU's starting to pick it up, man.
Yeah, OU's starting to play really well.
Yeah, they're kind of going the opposite direction because Oklahoma State looks questionable right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So I mean, but it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. The thing that so someone else asked a question like, if we make it to the Big 12 championship, who would we rather play, Oklahoma or Oklahoma State? Personally, I would like to play Oklahoma, Oklahoma, because Oklahoma State, it was a very close game, and it's really hard to replicate 4 turnovers like that again. OU, you know, it's hard to beat a team twice. And you know, we could have eliminated them from the Big 12 championship. You know, we could have been the team to do that, and we didn't do it. We didn't step on the throat when they were an injured animal. And you know, I want that shot. I want redemption shot to keep them from their 6th Big 12 championship.
So if I'm just going to say, what do I think is the best path for us to win? I think it's Oklahoma
State. Yep.
Because, again, there's no tricks. I said this and Texas defense knew that too, right? Like, there's no tricks. We know we match up well with them. Last 2 games, right? We've had success. I know it's hard to beat especially a good team like that twice. I just feel comfortable knowing, like, against Mike Gundy, and that's to me, that's the other difference there. Tom Herman
the
versus
coaching.
Mike Gundy, is a better matchup for us than Tom Herman versus Lincoln Riley, because there's a big gap between Lincoln Riley and Tom Herman that was established in this last game that we played, in my opinion. Because I felt like before, Lincoln arguably had the better team every single time, and this time I felt like we had the better team, like man for man.
And they dominated us.
And they really did. That game, outside of heroics at the end and us, you know, just Sam Ellinger just running around like crazy and getting that game to OT. And yeah, we almost won in OT. But Oklahoma was up, 14 points comfortably, multiple times with the ball, with Spencer Rattler with no confidence. Spencer Rattler's ramping. They've got Ramondre Stevenson back. They've got Ronnie Perkins back. Like, these dudes weren't even in the game, right? And OU was just out there. Other young brother, his name is escaping me right now. The running back, McGowan, Seth McGowan. McGowan wasn't even playing. Like, all these dudes were out, right? But I'm with you from a culture perspective, from a fan perspective, from a what Texas needs perspective. I think it matters for Tom Herman to go to a Big 12 championship and defeat Lincoln Riley.
Take the championship from him.
I think that's the biggest upside play for Texas.
I agree with you completely. I think the easier win for us, and I'm not even saying
neither easy, but the better matchup.
Yeah, but the better matchup. You know, one of the things that you really haven't touched on, we haven't touched on, is the been there, done that mentality. They've won 6 straight Big 12 championships. He knows how to coach in those games. You know, no one else, no other coach in the Big 12. Gundy's won 1, right? He's won 1 Big 12 championship.
Yeah, in 2011.
Yeah, so almost a decade ago. So, I mean, it's really hard to coach against a guy who's so comfortable in coaching in those types of atmosphere, that type of atmosphere.
Well, he just coaches Tom Herman all the time anyway.
Yeah.
like this again, this past one.
I wouldn't necessarily say that
these circumstances.
I wouldn't necessarily say that he outcoached us in the Big 12 championship game. I just think that they were just a better team.
They were the better team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and Kyler was the best player.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, Kyler was even better in that game than he was when we saw him in Dallas or in the Red River. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because technically we were in Arlington, the other game's in Dallas, blah, blah, blah. I know you DFW people are annoying about that. Shade. However, he was just, I mean, he made some throws, and Grant Calcaterra made some catches in that game where it's just like you tip your hat, right?
One-handed catches.
Yeah. Or and CeeDee Lamb included. So I mean
Hollywood Brown was there too.
yeah, like that was, they beat us honestly though with that freaking that nickel blitz.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the game ended, right? Like when they got Sam in the end zone, because we were right there competing. Colin was playing well, like we were competing. But I say all that, you got to prove it. You're 1-4 against them. You got to prove it. Like there's a gap. There's a gap. This dude rolled in there with TJ Pledger and Marcus Major and beat you. That was all you had. And Spencer Rattler was giving you the rock, and he still was about to beat you comfortably. There's something up there, right? Like that's why I start to look at the staff, and I'm like, there's a gap here. So we got to close the gap.
Yeah.
However we can. Now, speaking of where the gap is closing, I do want to throw some positive out here. Chris Ash. So I know before the season we took like the cautiously optimistic approach with Chris Ash, and we're excited because of the in-season development that we're witnessing with this team, especially under the circumstances, right? Like his overall numbers. So there was a thing that came out. I think the guys at BON did this, but they put out what the numbers were for the first year Texas defensive coordinators since Manny Diaz came in for Muschamp. And Manny Diaz, I think year one, we had like the number 12 defense in the country, really good. And then I'm not counting Greg Robinson because he was like midseason. So then Vance Bedford, I think it was a top 15 defense in 2014. May have been higher. I know we were number one in the Big 12 with Vance Bedford, but we were top whatever defense. And one of the recurring things here was the returning starters. Mm-hmm. Todd Orlando, I think, was in the top 10 defensively in 2017 from whatever metrics that they had. And this year so far, Chris Ash, I think, is top 30, but that's because we had the disaster. I think the overtimes are hurting him, his numbers. We've played so many overtimes, they're destroying his numbers, and then the Tech game is hurting his numbers. But
I actually looked these up from Sports Reference.
Okay.
It's something else I was working on, but I'll tell you offline what I was working on. But according to Sports Reference, it says that we're 57th as of 11-10 in total defense, and we're better than a top. I think we're legitimately a top 25 defense, honestly.
Now
the way we're ramping up.
Yeah.
So
while I'm excited, and what I'm encouraged by again is the in-season development, the coaching, because not everybody that's producing right now are necessarily returning starters either, right? Like you have a good mix. You have guys who are veterans like Osai or Chris Brown who are very, very productive, and then you have other guys who either are new starters or freshmen that are also producing, right? So he's married it up really well. But it's kind of also what we expected to some degree because first year Texas defensive coordinators are typically rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been.
We bit the cheese, man. We that's the thing. We didn't. It takes a lot to gel as a unit, and we weren't factoring in the no spring practice. We weren't factoring the actual focus on defense and what the philosophy is going to be. And I was really upset when I didn't see just a finished product week 2.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a finished product, but like
a good
disastrous
product. Yeah, a good product. So just to see us keep competing, because that's one of the things that I think has frustrated me as a Texas fan this past decade, was that when things didn't come easy to us, we would just kind of give up.
Sure.
And they kept grinding, and they're just getting better and better and better. I mean, at every single position, Juwan Mitchell's playing fantastic. Our our linebackers, that was a position that we were scared, but we were more so scared from a depth perspective.
I'm
But
scared for both.
you were, I was thinking that Overshone and
I was
Osai
scared.
would pick up a lot.
I wasn't counting Osai. I was counting Osai in the front four. So
Okay.
I was scared more so for how not I knew Overshone would get there. That's what I believed. I mean, we had him and we picked
Yeah.
him. I think we both picked him in our top 10 players before the season started. I think what I was concerned was just that middle linebacker position because Delhi was coming back hurt. Juwan Mitchell, I didn't know how he was going to be used. It was just a lot of questions. And they've gotten that's probably the most improved group over this season, I'd say. So they're playing well. Um, oh, by the way, Dallas Schwartz, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all the veterans out there. I need to text my uncle.
Yes.
I need to
Yes.
text my uncles
Yeah.
and my cousins. I've been swamped today, so I haven't even. I need to give it. So all of you that have family members that are veterans, or if you're a veteran here in the chat, thank you very much for your service. It's funny, like with us being COVID, whenever I used to come across a veteran, especially around this time,
Mm-hmm.
um, either buy them a meal or a drink or whatever. Just especially if I saw somebody out in uniform. So make sure you always pay it forward and do that for our veterans out there that keep us safe and protected.
Austin G. Kaden Stearns is very good. I think he's put in a position to kind of fail. I mean, they're making him play man where he's 12 yards off of an athletic wide receiver. I mean, you throw anyone on an island like that with that much space, I mean, I would target a safety like that if he's a man every single time.
So Sam G also said it. Kaden Stearns has turf toe, and the problem is it's on the injury
Can't
report.
cut. Get cut.
Everybody, somebody
Well,
just said that. Like he's on the injury report, and everybody that going against us knows it. And
yeah.
he's been dealing with some stuff for most part of the year because we've been seeing people target Kaden Stearns. So especially when we're at the game and a lot of times we can have like kind of more of that all 22 view, right? You can kind of
You and I
already
had
see
a
off
pretty
off.
long conversation about this.
Yes, like you can already see offensively. Oh, they're going to throw at 7, and it's probably going to be some sort of corner route or the fade. The what's in vogue right now, the fade from the slot, and they're getting him on that. They're working him on that. I do think he does have some technique challenges in terms of his man coverage. It reminds me of Brandon Jones, I think around his sophomore year when he was trying to play nickel and dealing with the same things. Kaden, to me, is still giving a phenomenal effort in the run game, and he's been tackling well. I think the red zone stuff has been frustrating with him too, but we're just not seeing him be that instinctive guy turning the football over in the pass game the way we saw early in his freshman year. And I think because we're not seeing that guy, a lot of fans aren't noticing a lot of the little things he's doing, especially in the run game, because he's not turning the football over. So therefore, he's not playing well. And I'm not saying that he's not struggling in certain aspects. He definitely is. I just said people are targeting him, and we are seeing it, right? And it's crazy because you look at like Josh Thompson, who I'd argue is probably less accomplished, right? Or Jameson or whoever, and they're like, no, we're going at 7. There's a reason for that. So definitely have to, A, the brother's got to get healthy, but B, he's got to get back to trying to get back there and making plays. Mark, I'm not trying to make excuses for Kaden Stearns. Hopefully I'm not sounding like that. I just think that there's kind of a good bad situation to it. What's good, Edward? How you doing, man? I'm glad you got to join this time. Are you out there in Oklahoma? Edward's normally at work when we're doing these, so
Nice.
yeah, I'm glad he was able to get on here. There was something that somebody asked earlier that I really wanted to touch on. I'm gonna go back through here. Who's the DC of Texas when they won the national? Wasn't that Gene Chizik?
It was Gene Chizik. Yep.
There's something else. I honestly don't think our pass defense is trash. Somebody said that earlier. I don't think the pass defense is trash. I think you had Tylan Wallace problems, and because since they've gotten things corrected after the Tech game, nobody's really dot you up like that. Now they give up plays, and I also think because of the game plan, and Tran and I were all over this. Chris Ash is the type of person that's like, I'm not gonna let you run the ball on me. That's where he's getting at. I'm not letting you run the ball on me. So go ahead and throw it around the yard. I'm gonna force you into what I want you to do, and let my heat get there. Hopefully, and now a lot of people. There's a lot of conversation is that I'm starting to see, which is really funny. Tran, why doesn't Chris Ash blitz more? And it's so funny a year later from Todd Orlando, right? Like this crazy difference.
So they're actually playing sound defense, and they are getting pressure with 4-man rushes. I actually kind of like the hey, we're not blitzing 60% of the time. I like it because it throws off the
about it.
Yeah, it throws off the offense a little bit. Like look what happened with the two A gap blitzes from our linebacker position. Osai blew up a play, and so did Overshone.
Convinced they thought Osai was going to drop. Like, why didn't they even touch him? Either that or their keys were messed up.
I don't know. I don't know, but it worked both times. I thought I saw a pretty good question. Oh, okay. Dicker the kicker. What's your thoughts on him punting?
Ooh, good call out. So for those who don't know, Ryan Bachevsky, he tore his ACL.
Of course, when he starts balling out, he's had his two best games I've ever seen him play. Back-to-back weeks, and of course that happened.
Sucks.
So, yes, it's really frustrating.
I've been really hard on that kid on this channel. For those who watch, been very, very hard on him, and because A, he got a lot of hype because of his cousin, and B, it's a very important part of the game: field position.
Mm-hmm.
But he was turning a corner, man. He really was, and my whole thing is consistency, because I've seen him kick well one week before. Like I've seen him do it in spurts, but whenever you start to do something back-to-back weeks, that's why I started getting so hyped about.
When we start getting excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I started getting hyped about Taquan Graham, right? Because I'm like, ooh, this is now 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row.
Technically, yeah, 3 weeks in a row.
Right. Ojimo, we just haven't even brought him up, right? Like he's all over the place too. Probably the most underrated player on the defense, I'd say. Moro Ojimo, right? But he's been consistent. This isn't. He didn't just flash last week and get a sack. He's been boom, 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 right? But we have more heralded guys like Osai and Alfred Collins and Keandre Coburn. That
honestly, if people are taking double teams, you gotta beat. If you're a defensive player, you have to beat your man one-on-one. You are more athletic than the offensive lineman. You need to beat him. So, I mean, he's doing what he needs to be doing.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Ojimo, but let's get back to.
Well, hey, I wanted him on my top 10.
You did. And then the Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I let you talk me out of it. You're like maybe top 15. Tyler, what was it? Tyler asked me a question specifically. How many losses does it take for Herman to be fired? Honestly, it could be one. If he loses Kansas, he's gone. He might as well just stay in Kansas. I'd say 2, though, if it wasn't for him. Who are you more afraid of, Iowa State or Kansas State? Mine's Iowa State, because they're balanced on offense, and they have a pretty good defense, and they're really well coached, and they have experience at the quarterback position. Kansas State doesn't have that experience.
They're mad because we didn't finish the punting point.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So with Cameron Dicker, I have no idea how he's going to punt. at the collegiate level. We haven't seen it. So your guess is as good as mine. We don't have another option. So it's from there. People are talking about Jared Wiley punting at Temple. Jared Wiley did everything at Temple. They said he averaged from the information I received. Jared Wiley averaged 38 yards per punt his sophomore year of high school. So I don't know how like what you take with that in terms of extensive experience punting. Now there's a couple ways to look at this. I think the most important one, because there's an important one and then there's one that nobody's talking about that impacts Cameron Dicker that I'm going to get to. But and I'm going to ask you this, Trent, how does this impact the offense and Tom Herman in particular?
With a unproven punter.
Yeah. Don't you think it makes you, what I'm getting at is like, don't you think that he kind of has to be more aggressive?
Yeah, it has to be.
He has to be.
So, I mean, unless they know that Dicker can average like 42, 43 yards a punt. But you're not going to get the directional punting where if we're trying to pin him in the corner.
They're going to be focused on him catching the ball because he's not used to catching the ball. Mm-hmm. That's a very, very big thing with punting, especially if a ball is high or whatever. Catching, getting down, and getting the ball out quick. Like that's why your punters are typically much better athletes than your kickers, right? They have to do a lot more athletically. The other thing I wanted to get at, so that's a big one, right? Like offense has to be more aggressive. They've got to protect Cameron Dicker in that regard. It's not going to be like when Chris Nagar came in, who was a good.
He was a punter.
Yeah,
he was a punter. Yeah.
And now he's kicking well. I think he's doing both at SMU very well.
Yeah, so he's a field goal kicker too.
Yeah. So my other point though, and I'm stealing this from Mr. Brandon Holland, who texted me this question earlier this week. Who will be the holder?
Ooh.
Because Ryan Bushevsky was the holder. That also impacts Cameron Dicker. And he was asking, and I honestly didn't have an answer for who's going to, like, I'm like, Casey Thompson? Like, who
I was going to say Casey.
Who's the holder, right? Like, so.
Hopefully they're working on that right now.
They are so fortunate to have a bye week right now for those little things, right? Because when we get in those tight, close games, and Ryan Bushevsky's always been the one holding the football, I think that stuff matters. No one's asked about, like, Brandon texted me that and was like, dude, like who's our holder? Like, what if the guy fumbles the ball? Like, there's all sorts.
Wait, hold up. Brandon Holland, he's an LSU guy.
No, different. This is a different Brandon.
Okay. I was like, wait, hold up.
No. Not our Brandon. Not okay. This is my friend Brandon Holland.
Gotcha.
Who runs Along the Wire podcast from San Antonio.
Gotcha.
That's Brandon.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was about to say, wait, is it really that bad?
No, that Brandon Holland is a LSU fan. Correct. Yeah. That'd be very suspicious if he was texting me stuff about that. He said K. Brewer held for Dicker in high school. See, that's the inside intel we need. He's friends with. I can't believe we Nate. Yeah, I wish Chris Nagar was still here. Yeah, they do have 2 weeks to figure it out. They really do, regardless of who it is.
Well, hopefully 3 weeks technically, because
a lot of people are saying K. Brewer because of high school. I'm fine as long as it's consistent. That's the only thing, right? As long as it's consistent, because we never had a conversation about the holder. That means he was doing his job, right? When you're not having a conversation about the holder, when you're not having a conversation about the long snapper, right? They're doing their jobs. What do I think of Indiana? They're top 10, right? Number 10 in the country. Did they move up again after beating Michigan? I think Indiana's offense is fantastic. Tyler Mostello. Hudson Card can be a holder. We got time to get Quinn Ewers back, especially considering his what do you call it? predisposition to Texas, right? And I think clearly he wanted to be here. It was a business decision because it wasn't in the best interest of his development. That's what we got to prove, right? That we're the best option. And right now, see, Tran and I, we're in sales. We work in business, right? We're in a very competitive industry. It's all about what's the best option for me as a consumer, right? Or if I'm getting a product, right? And
What differentiates yourself?
right now, Quinn Ewers' family is doing Ohio State or Texas. And what is Justin Fields doing over there right now? Every touchdown he throws hurts our case.
He has more touchdowns than incompletions. That's fantastic. I mean, he has more touchdowns
Right.
than incompletions.
He's like, I'm gonna say it again
Like
for the people in the back.
like, he's
That's
played
why-
3 games. He's played 3 games.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I'm just saying, man. Like, part of being in sales is I gotta be able to sell the best product. I gotta have the best product. Product matters. And right now, that is a tough sale. Chad did say it all. This brother has more touchdowns than incompletions. You don't think other kids are seeing this? So,
And not only that, he's doing it with Texas wide receivers.
and he's doing it right,
Yeah.
right. Because in Jigba, same. You know, he knows in Jigba. He knows Garrett Wilson. Like, and now you have Caleb Burton leaning that way, who is his boy and number 1 receiver in that class. Like,
They say they want to play together.
and so that's tough, man. You gotta. That's what you're competing against if you're Texas. So that's also why Texas says, hey, you know what? The only way to counter that is to get Urban Meyer. That's the whole. It's the circle of life. Somebody said, I know this is college talk, but Garrett Gilbert is the Cowboys tanking QB or QB to win the division. Justin McGuff, I am going to cover this real quick, but check out my last video on the Cowboys. I covered this extensively about Garrett Gilbert. But I will talk about this because it's our channel. We can talk about whatever we want. I was so happy to see Garrett Gilbert play, and I'm gonna allow you to make this point, Tran. He genuinely looked happy on the sideline in this Cowboys game. Like, happy, when I say like just the joy playing football. And you're the one that points this out all the time. His face at the end of his Texas era.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most saddest sights I've ever seen. Hometown kid getting booed by 100,000 fans, and he was holding back the tears. You could tell he wanted to just break out crying. You know, all the people who booed him, shame on you, man, because that kid was 19 years old.
Holding back the tears.
Yeah, but he looked comfortable out there, man.
He did.
I was happy. I was happy to see him play. Get first play of the game. I think they got it to Amari, right? Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm. That
and,
deep.
you know, yeah.
Hey, slot fade.
Yeah.
I think that was a slot fade that they threw.
I mean,
in Vogue.
Is it out of the question that, you know, we still can get a top 10 pick and win the division? I mean,
I do want to answer Justin's question though.
Yeah.
Because we feel anybody that's a Texas fan, you have an opinion on Garrett Gilbert one way or another because there's so much there. That national championship game, the recruiting of him being from here, and then it falling apart before our very eyes, and we haven't come back from it. Let's be real. But in terms of the game, I love the fact that he looked happy, just out there. I'm like, that's the energy that energy that he found again playing football, because he looked, when he left here, he looked like football was not fun for him. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. But in terms of what the Jones family saw, I think he played well enough to where they're like, you might mess up our draft. I think they're trying to tank. Jerry and Steven, they're not interested I don't think they're interested. I think they're interested in putting forth a good product every week of being competitive and entertaining, but trying to hold on to that top 5 draft pick. And Garrett Gilbert, if he's going to come out and play like that, he can beat Washington. He can beat the Giants, right? Like he can beat teams like that. Like if we had gotten that type of quarterback play in the Philadelphia Eagles game
It's a different
on
game.
Sunday night, right? Like, and Ben Rogers said it best. Like DiNucci looked like one of the little kids at Kroger that won a contest and got to be in the NFL game. That's how bad he looked. It's not his fault. It's just what it is. And DiNucci, I don't know if you remember this show, Tran. It was a Disney Channel show where you could be in the game. Where it was the jersey. Let me know if anybody remembers this. It was a Disney Channel show, and I think it was a movie too. I don't know if I remember. Disney Channel show called The Jersey, where you could put on a jersey and become a professional athlete for a moment in a game. That's what
Did they
DiNucci
steal
looked.
that from Like Mike?
No, the jersey. The jersey was from the 90s,
Oh, okay.
like in late 90s. Let me know if anybody's ever heard of that show. But I say that to say this: like they realize, all right, Garrett Gilbert's balling a little bit too much. Let's go back to Andy Dalton. So, just gonna leave it at that.
They are going back to Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
Oh, that's he.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for my Spurs shirt. Yeah, we got the draft next week. I'm gonna be making a draft video because especially if the Spurs are able to trade up to the number 2 pick right now. We're not sure what they're gonna do, but we'll see. But I will be making draft video. Steven, do we need all hands on deck versus Iowa State at home?
We need all hands on deck every single week.
Mark just likes to tease me because I say all hands on deck.
No, okay, gotcha.
He does it on Twitter too. Damn, nobody remembers the jersey? I must be too old. Or I must be like, am I the only person that was watching Disney Channel in the late 90s? Nobody remembers the jersey. I'm gonna find a little clip from the jersey and post it on my channel. I don't think Texas fires Herman.
Just have it cut in right in the middle. It's just like,
yeah, just so you guys know I'm not crazy. Like I know, like that was literally what happened. He said, "I've never heard of this." Yes, and so I believe the first episode of the Jersey, I was a big fan of this show. It was before Famous Jet Jackson, but somebody said I'm making shows up. Yeah. Bump you, dog. Like I am not making this up. I am not making up the jersey. You trust me. But the first episode, the dude put on a 49ers jersey and he became Steve Young. And it was the real Steve Young. Like they had the real athletes on the show. So somebody said stop. I'm telling you, it was
I'm looking it up right now. Oh,
Disney
it is
Channel show.
99 through 2004. The jersey, I'm gonna post it in the chat.
All right, we can go back to talking football. My wife had to come in and co-sign. Thank you, Brianna. I've shown it to her before.
There you go. I just he's right.
Now
I just don't remember this.
Now y'all want to cook me and say I was watching iCarly. All that. Y'all got jokes. Yo, my wife's not even in the room, bruh. You're not helping the case. I know somebody in here remembers that show, The Jersey, Disney Channel. Look it up. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus or not. The last time I checked Disney Plus, it wasn't on there. However, which was y'all are cooking me right now. I love it. I love it.
Show everyone.
Yo, I don't. How old are you guys? I feel like everyone's either significantly older than me or significantly younger. Yeah. I don't think there was I don't know if there's anybody Like, where are my 88 babies? You know what I'm saying? Like, born in 88. How old is that? Old enough. All right.
Steven Texas watching.
Yeah, see, brother, you 24. There's no way you know what the jersey is. Somebody said I'm just continuing to dig the hole. Just, oh man. Hey, I just did a IG live with a guy that was
Sophomore.
a sophomore in high school, and I was on the chat explaining to people who Maurice Clarett was. Do you guys remember who Maurice Clarett is from Ohio State? Like, I was explaining to a lot of people in chat. They were like, "Did you make up a running back?" Like,
you could have told him, hey, he came and talked his first year when Tom Herman was here. He did. He came and talked to the team.
Maurice Clarett?
Yeah.
Really?
He came and talked to UT. It might have been strong, but he came and talked to the team about it.
What is Maurice Clarett gonna come and talk to us about?
The shit he got into and how he came out of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He put on a jersey and he started.
Yeah, Maurice Clarett tried to change the game, man. Him and Mike Williams. Mike Williams from USC, the wide receiver, he used to rock number 1. Those of you, I know all you young guys. So you guys are so young that y'all probably didn't even get a chance to experience the legendary video game of NCAA football. Sad. See, growing up, at least in my era, I got to grow up during the prime of NCAA football, where I could log in and put everybody's name in and put in Vince Young's name and Selvin Young and all my receivers and David Thomas and just ball out, right? And the guy would be pulsing, and you build your franchise and recruit. Greatest video game ever. But you guys are so young. You've grown up in a world where the NCAA football game is illegal. Can't even make it. Sad.
Oh no, it should be coming back, right? With the likeness rights. Hopefully.
Somebody said I still got 14. They got to bring it back, man. NCAA was fantastic. You could, any video game where you can be on the video game, and some of y'all are going to know what I'm talking about when I say this. Any video game where you can be on there for multiple hours without actually playing a game. You're just on there either recruiting or putting in names or doing drills with your players, like doing all this stuff. Oh, there's like, oh yeah, we got to play UL Monroe week 1. Let's go ahead and blow them out real quick. I love
the thing I liked about them is that you can make promises to the recruits, and if you didn't follow through, you lose credibility for the next year. So you had to make sure you juiced up that dude, like freshman All-American. Promise you.
I promise you're gonna rock number 37 next year, bro. I got it in the bag for you. Texas has won 690 natties. Making your own player. Yeah, see, some of y'all are getting by to this day on NCAA. I have lifelong friends because of that football game, because of that video game. No joke, no joke. Just sitting there. My best friend growing up was a big Ohio State fan. Like, and at the time when we were in high school, you remember we played Ohio State, right, back to backs. Like, I'll never forget that whole week we played the Vince Young year when we won the national championship in 2005, and we went to the Horseshoe and beat them. Leading up to that game, because remember, the best thing about NCAA was you had the home field advantage, like one of the best things. But the crowd, right? Like,
yeah,
it was so realistic. Like when you went to the Horseshoe,
it
would shake your controller. Yeah. Your players couldn't get the audibles because their awareness was low. Like, they would just be freaking out, right? And we simulated that game playing each other at least 30 times that week. Because, like, growing up, our teams hadn't played each other. like while we were alive, Ohio State,
Mhm.
Texas. At least not that I'm aware until that week, and so we were just hyped on it. And I was tearing him up with Vince Young, and he was out there throwing the rock with like Ted Ginn and all that type of stuff. And it was just like, it was like, wow, man. And I don't know, was Ted Ginn there yet? Maybe not. Maybe it was the following year. But like, Troy Smith and Antonio Pittman just eating us, right? But the crowd stuff, like I wish they had that in the NFL.
Zabransky.
I wish they had that in the NFL games now, where
Yeah.
where you could feel like you're going to Arrowhead, or if you're going to Seattle, like
Seattle,
that
you
should
feel it. Yeah.
factor into the game. Yeah, man. That shapes. I think that shaped how people, why we ride so hard for college football in a lot of ways growing up as an experience, because it was such a great simulation and of building your program. So you start to become more intense in recruiting. So here's another interesting conversation. I'm going to switch gears, Tran, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. Going back to Bijan Robinson and his, breakout. I would say this was a good, nice little breakout performance. He had 151 total yards
Hmm.
rushing. What time is it right now? You want to go for about another 10, 15 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, why not? I need to get a PS3 and just start playing NCAA football and just build it. You have one at your house. I'm so jealous.
No, I have a PS4. I don't. Do I
I
have a
thought
PS3?
you have a PS3. I've seen it.
I probably do.
You do.
I
It's
kind of
downstairs.
hide my video games.
If I were to come
from
to
my
your house
kids.
right now, I know
You'd
exactly
be able to
where
find it. You should
I've-
just take it next time.
I've looked at it so many times.
You should just snag it and be like,
I've
"Oh
looked
yeah, this
at
is mine."
that
I'd be like,
PS3
"All
because
right."
I have a PS4 too, but you can't play NCAA 14 on PS4.
You can't?
You have to have a PS3.
Huh.
So I've looked at your PS3. It's there. Anyway,
It's there. It's there. It won't be there next time I show.
Anyway.
It's mine.
I know where it is in the house. It's not. You're upstairs. It's downstairs. Anyway,
Okay.
that
I know exactly where it is. I am not getting PS5 at midnight. I am trying to keep games away from I want my son to be an outside kid. I want him to play sports and stuff like that, and I don't want him to be his eyes just on the TV all the time.
I like it, pops.
I might get it for me, hidden somewhere.
After they go to bed.
Yeah.
There you go. So anyway, I want to get to this is fun, man. We're just this is what the bye week chat is all about, guys. We can just take it on tangents, go anywhere we want. Bijan, though. So this question that came up, shout out to David Williams. If you're rewatching this or what have you, shout out to you. If you hadn't gotten a chance, by the way, to hit the like button while you're here, hit the like button. But David Williams, who comments all the time, really respect his opinion. We've been going back and forth about comps for Bijan. And, I would love for you guys to throw out comps in general. Just if he reminds you of a particular type of player. I was keeping it to Texas running backs. And I said some of the things he did, especially that run where he stiff armed the guy and he should have had an 80+ yard touchdown and it was unjustifiably taken from him. I saw some Ricky there. I saw some shades of Ricky Williams. Now, Bijan's body type is different from everybody's, but in terms of like just that explosiveness, stiff arm, lateral, boom, upfield. I see some of that I saw some of that with Ricky. Now, David was saying Jonathan Gray pre all the injuries. When Jonathan Gray came out of Alito, from more size, weight, speed combination. But I think he was a different type of back. I agree. Bijan's the first Bijan, but just having fun with comps because we love comps.
So I have a pretty good comp that people want. Selvin Young. My brother would always tell me that Selvin Young was the most athletic running back that he saw on campus.
You explain the Selvin Young thing because I don't think people realize he was another guy who got injured
Yes, a lot.
A lot
He
early, but early Selvin Young was stupid.
Yes, he was extremely athletic, and he still made it in the NFL for I think 4 years or
Right.
something like that.
Even after all the knee issues.
He said even in the 2-on-2 drills, he was just breaking people's ankles left and right, and he was also a physical back. So that's I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of Sullivan, but just from what I saw on that one run, that just reminded me of what he would always talk about.
That's an interesting comp. See, that's the beauty of having family members that got to play with those type of people. So you get that inside scoop on stuff like that. That's actually a really interesting comp, Selvin Young. Because I think we look at Selvin Young like the finished product. Like, because he was obviously a key contributor for the national championship team. And a lot of things he did, like you said, was, went on to the NFL, right, and played. But I remember when he came in, and I think he was rocking number 3, like his freshman year. He was a big recruit.
Yep.
Like, big time recruit when he got here. So the Jamal Charles thing, I don't understand the comp there. Because Jamal Charles was a
speed
track guy, yeah. And Jamal wasn't super big either. Bijan's already 220?
Yeah.
So he'll probably finish here around 230. Realistically.
I mean, you could say I could see him at a healthy weight at 220, 225 still, and just get used to the game, the pounding of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see it.
Ramonce Taylor was a beast, but Ramonce Taylor was more of the track type of guys, but he was also like, there was a time I'm old enough to remember this, where we were debating what position he even played. Ramonce Taylor, because remember he was lining up in the slot as much as he was in the backfield, but that's how dynamic he was. But Ramonce Taylor, him dropping the ball in the Ohio State on the kickoff and then stepping off on everybody after he picked the ball up and ran for like 60 yards, and he was like, oh, who is that? Like, he just looks like the fastest player on the field. So I think that's a very, very interesting comp.
Thank you, 100-Yard Podcast.
Thank you, 100-Yard Podcast. What's up with Kaden Stearns? He's been off this year. Yeah, we were talking about Kaden earlier. Run game, he's still handling his business. Unfortunately, though, pass game, he's dealing with turf toe. He's being targeted right now, and teams are taking advantage. He's got to clean up that technique, and you can see the lack of confidence in the pass game. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is, as much as Kaden Stearns is struggling, is as well as Chris Brown is playing. And but when you watch Chris Brown, I know a lot of people like to just go straight to, they hear Chris Brown's name and they go straight to the flexing. But I also look at it this way. There's, outside of Joseph Osai, is there anybody playing with more confidence on this football team than Chris Brown right now? Like from a play-to-play situation? Because Chris Brown right now, I believe, is the highest graded safety in the country.
Yep.
In the country.
I will say he did. That was pass interference.
On the deep ball? Or,
no.
The end of the game. Yeah.
That was pass interference. Not the deep ball. The deep ball, he played that.
The deep ball, but did you see, like, for me with the deep ball, I was impressed because he played it better than the corners. He didn't freak out. He just waited for the guy, just like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of slowed down. So as much as Kaden Stearns is struggling, that's why football, I always talk about with basketball, like, it's a game, like, so much of it is just freaking confidence and letting it go. Football's in a lot of ways like that too. And you need people like that. You have to have the irrational confidence people. Yeah, the flexing's annoying when somebody's 15 yards downfield and they're getting tackled. But Tran, you said this to me the other day. If that's what gets him going,
yeah. If you want to,
I mean, I always
it's annoying.
That's what I loved about defensive backs is that you talk your trash, man. I mean, have fun out there. That's the biggest thing. Is that a lot of them, everyone was just playing too tight. I mean, the people like Quandre Diggs. That's the reason why Quandre Diggs play. He was always loose.
and that's the way he's playing right now. I agree with everyone. The 25-yard rush and you tackling a guy, doing a hip tackle on him, you shouldn't be flexing after that. but off of a pass breakup like that, yeah, go ahead, man. Do you? It takes if you're not emotional throughout a game, I mean, you're going to play tight throughout the game. You're not going to be as focused or anything like that. So, that's the one thing that you're supposed to be out there for. First thing is to have fun. And it seems like he's having fun out there.
So Cameron Martin brought up BJ Foster, and he's a huge BJ Foster fan. Trent, you actually
He's been
texted
playing great.
You texted me about BJ Foster. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that?
He's just ever since that little mishap earlier this year, and I'm so glad that we gave him a second try, because we see the type of depth that we need, especially in the secondary here in the Big 12. And he has been playing great on tight ends specifically. And coming up against Iowa State, what are they good at? They're good at running back and they're good at tight ends. So he's gonna be huge to our success against their offense. He's been playing great in coverage. He's been tackling better. He hasn't been doing trying to go lights out with people. He's just wrapping up and tackling. Sound defense, and he hasn't jumped off the page to anyone, so no one's going to really notice him. But look at his win shares when he's targeted. He's been playing way better in coverage than even Kaden Stearns has. So
he's even been better he's been good in the red zone area too for us, and he's made some plays there. Somebody asked us about who do we want to see coming back. What was the question again? I'm sorry if I missed it, but you guys said you wanted to talk about who we want to. Was that the question? Who do we want to see come back for their senior? What was if whoever asked that question, if you don't mind asking it again, real quick. Oh yeah, LOG said opinions on wide receivers not making big plays on one-on-one. Yeah, we've got to do a better job contested catches, right? And this is something I didn't talk about earlier with the rotation. But even our better guys, Jake Smith, Joshua Moore, getting stronger, fighting through the ball, and coming back to the ball. So Jake Smith he's got to work back to the football. Like there's that particular play where there's good coverage. Sam Ehlinger is going to have to put it in a place where he needs you to go make a play on it, right? Like, and Sam has been struggling with his accuracy. We have been beating him up on him today. I do want to touch on him getting a Senior Bowl invite before this is over. But that's a play where the receiver, like Devin Duvernay, 9 out of 10 times is working back. He's got inside leverage on the DB. There's no reason why you should be letting the dudes come through your body. Tariq Black, I'm seeing people come through his body and rip through him, right? Like right now, Brendan Eagles has probably been a little bit better than anybody I've seen on a consistent basis of contested catches, but he's a naturally big person. So our other guys got to leverage their speed and quickness and get better on separating too. That's been an issue. Thank you. Who just said that they remember the jersey? Taylor Carter. I don't know who Taylor Carter is. I didn't text him, y'all. He knows about the jersey. Thank you for co-signing, sir. Y'all call me out, man. What was the question? I think everyone comes back but Cosme and Osai. Yeah, you can't risk injury, right? Especially now with all the stuff that's been going on, COVID, uncertainty. Go get your check.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke Butler, what's up, man? Luke's a great follow on Twitter. My guy, Luke Butler, what's up, man? Thank you for the donation. Hookem, appreciate you, brother. Somebody said, you got yes men all around you, Steve. I don't even know that brother, man. He co-signed. Brother, you disqualified from this conversation. You said you're 24 years old. I don't expect you to know about the jersey. You were what, 3 when it came out? Any chance we make it to the Big 12 title game? We just got to run. I mean, we control our own destiny right now. Run the table. So I'm going to assume that other question. Actually, before I answer that question, Sam Ellinger got an invite because we haven't really talked a whole lot of Sam, but he got an invite to the Senior Bowl, and I tweeted today and said I will defend his honor because when he gets there. So for those who don't know, like Senior Bowl is a big deal because the NFL Network does, they broadcast like the practices and they show all the drills. It's very much like the U.S. Army All-American Bowl where every practice is graded and it's a lot of great competition and you kind of earn your MVP during the week, like Justin Herbert. Like that's where a lot of the Justin Herbert hype built up, and then he played well in the game, and they were like, "Dude, not only were you the MVP of the game, but you're MVP because you were the best player here throughout the week, right?" So with Sam Ellinger being a high-profile guy, if he decides to leave Texas and goes, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on every single drill, every pass he throws. People are going to be pointing at him like, you see, he can't throw at this level, and things like that. So I'm here to defend my guy. When's the last time we had a Texas quarterback at even participating in the Senior Bowl, right? So just him getting there and getting an opportunity to show that he's not just draftable, but can be in a team's plans in the third, fourth round range. I think that's a big deal for us. So I'll be here to defend every single pass he throws, even if he air mails it to the flats. I'll be here for you, Sam. KD burner account. I know y'all saw that burner account with Patty LaBelle's son. I'll just leave it at that. Katie's hair. Did anybody see Katie's hair? That was interesting. Oh, somebody. So players coming back for next year. Who do we want to see come back that are seniors? Derek Kerstetter needs to come back. That's just my opinion. He needs to come back and play another year at center. Or
Graham.
If Jake Majors is ready, then feel free to go back to right tackle where you were awesome there, sir.
Mhm.
But Derek Kerstetter shouldn't leave. And I don't think I hope he doesn't and takes advantage of that fifth year. But that like of all the people I'm thinking about, like Derek Kerstetter just jumps off like of who just needs to come back and just kind of have a redo. Not that he's horrible at center. I'm not going there. But he's not the same player he was at right tackle, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not his actual position that he should be at. I think Taquan Graham. I would love to see him come back.
Ooh.
I would, just to shore up that defensive line, because games are won in the trenches, and that will give us an extra year to develop
I like that
Vernon
one.
Broughton.
Mhm.
So I can't really think of many more. I think K Brewer should be gone.
My thing is, so those are the ones that get tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're Cade Brewer, I'm not going to get drafted. That may be the end of my football career. Why should I leave?
Let's get a Masters.
Free year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams are going to have to deal with that, honestly. Like, kind of like guys, they were ready to kind of like move to the side. And it's not one of those situations. I mean, you can be upfront with a guy and be like, hey, we're going to move forward next year. So if you want to pursue a grad transfer or whatever, but
Now's the time.
Cade Brewer's from here. I don't see that happening. And but at the same token, like he's already been unseated by Jared Wiley. You know what I mean? So you want another year with Sam Ellinger? Brennan Eagles is not a senior. We're talking about people. I think the question was people who were seniors.
Yeah.
I think Chris Brown is playing his way into playing. Chris Brown's going to be one of these dudes. Yeah, Chris Brown's one of these people we look up in the league, and it's like, damn, like he's playing very like we're seeing it now.
You mean like Adrian Phillips?
Yeah, I was just about to say Adrian Phillips' name. Great call.
Adrian Phillips had a great pro day.
Still in the league, getting paid. Good for him. So people are asking me questions. Texas will have Osai and Cosby drafted in the first or second round. Graham, Ellinger, and Brown the fifth. I agree. We got to get Brandon Jones was a third rounder. Is CB that far from him? I think right now CB is probably like a fifth or sixth. I would probably put CB around where Deshaun Elliott was graded. I do think it helps their cause that some of those guys that have been later, like Brandon Jones is playing already, playing really well. They got a turnover, a sack fumble on Kyler Murray, and he ran out and made a great play on getting the block. And he's been leading tackler in some of their games. Brandon Jones is playing well, and he fits their culture of what they're trying to do in Miami. I really, really like what Miami's doing down there. Perfect Brian Flores guy. Like Brandon Jones, Brian Flores makes sense. When you look at who was the other person I wanted to bring up? Chris Brown. I could see him, going later, but definitely, getting developed and getting picked at, at some point and helping people out. Deshaun Elliott is playing very, very well. Deshaun Elliott, one thing he's always had, and this is why he was a Thorpe finalist, instincts.
Yeah, instincts.
Somehow he's always around the football. He may not even take the right angle, but he just ends up right next to the football. And he's a great blitzer.
Yeah. He has the personality of a Raven. Yeah.
Either they're deploying him perfectly.
Yeah. Either that or
because every game they bring him on a safety blitz and he just gets home. And he's getting the ball out. Ravens fans love Deshaun Elliott, by the way. He's one of their more popular players on social media.
I look like I'm ready for bed. I'm not.
I know. We're saying it's 1:46. We'll go 5 more minutes here. Off topic a bit, but what do you guys think of Joseph Ossai's little brother? I don't know too much about his little brother. I know about the brother that plays at Houston Baptist, but I haven't done any tape on his younger brother.
His younger brother that's in high school still?
Says he's committed to Arizona. I haven't done any work on him. What class is he, if you don't mind, for the recruiting nuts out there? Somebody wanted me to. I will make two. I will be making a Texas basketball video. I am very excited for this season. I actually was one of the folks that went out to bed. I said bed because Brian T said bed, and it came out my mouth, and I was reading while talking. I went out to the Drum to see the games, the last few games. Now they got their ass whooped when I took my wife against Oklahoma State in the last game, but they were on a little bit of a run before COVID came. I'm very excited to see Greg Brown. I'm more excited for him than I even was for Mo Bamba, and I was very excited for Mo Bamba. Greg Brown's going to be a star. He's got it written all over him, and there's a potential. And somebody else said this. Greg Brown should be getting more attention than he's getting because he has some of that Zion Williamson, just, oh my God, what did he just do? Explosiveness. Their basketball team is loaded. They return 100% of everything from last year. It's going to be very competitive for guys to get minutes. The key that Shaka is going to have to really figure out, because he has everything you look for in a college basketball team. He has bigs. He's got the explosive young wing. He's got shooters now, and he's got senior guards.
That's the big thing in college basketball is the senior guards. Is the guard play?
You got senior guards. So we should be good.
should.
We should be good. Should. I mean, we'll see. But I'm very excited. I will be making a Texas basketball preview video. And they got a glue guy. They got a glue guy in that does the dirty work in Cunningham. So they got a lot of people out there. Any of our guards show up? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, our guard play last year was very inconsistent. Courtney Ramey, Kansas State game, he drops like 26, looks like a star. Next game, he has 5 points.
Yeah,
Matt Coleman,
is huge.
Yeah, consistency is huge. Matt Coleman had a couple good games in a row. Hits the game winner against OU. Then he doesn't take his first shot till the second half in the next game, and has 3 fouls. And you're a junior at that point. We got to get over that crap.
I think Mike Kabongo should have stayed his senior year. I don't think he should have left so early.
I was big on Mike Kabongo when he came out. Yeah. Mike Kabongo was a 5-star.
Yeah. But he left his sophomore, or was it his junior year?
I think he left after his sophomore year. Thank you for the live chat, Brian. Appreciate y'all coming through.
At Osai KC. Does he have a highlight tape on there?
At a huddle?
Yeah. I also don't want to just, dive into the old habits of previous coaches and just recruit baller brothers of ballers that we have currently. I also don't want to fall into that.
I'm feeling great, Michael. I'm 100% back to health, and feeling good.
Take it easy, Dallas.
Dallas, thank you. Hey, Dallas, before you leave, congratulations to USC for being 1-0. Big win over Arizona State.
Big
Big
McCoy
win.
with the
Brew McCoy.
Yeah.
Brew McCoy. It was good. Look, I know a lot of y'all feel a lot of type of ways about Brew McCoy, but for him to be playing football and he got a touchdown, he caught a touchdown pass off of a deflected pass, and he got Brew got an onside kick, the big onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
He was out there. He was featured. Slovis is out here balling, throwing all over the place. And Graham Harrell's air raid offense. It's weird to see USC running an air raid. And then how can we forget the debut of Todd Orlando? And he was blitzing,
baby. he held them to 27 points.
He was blitzing. Now he gave up.
What?
He gave up 1,000. He gave up a gajillion yards in the run game, and the quarterback was running all over the place. But they did hold, because Jay Daniels is a good quarterback. They did hold Arizona State to like 130 yards passing. Weird game. Mm-hmm. But again, same thing, right? Like they're coming off COVID. They're in a weird place. So who knows what Todd Orlando's going to do. I respect the fact that Todd Orlando's going to do him no matter where he's at. Like he did not switch up. You know what I mean? Like watching them. He is going, that's his scheme. That's what he's going to do. I don't care. So. Crawford, easy. Kell Brooks should have retired a minute ago. Tommy. There's some good boxing men going on. Devin Haney, look good. Obviously Tank Davis got the huge knockout over Leo Santa Cruz, but see Crawford, Bud Crawford, they need to get that brother. That brother's got to leave Top Rank. Did he leave Top Rank? I don't know. He's just not getting the fights that he should be getting at this point. He's getting older, and I'm afraid that he's the new Triple G. And what I mean by that is, if you watch Triple G in his late 20s and early 30s, no one was touching him, but he wasn't getting fights. And then by the time he finally gets the Canelo fight, and I said this, I'm like, damn, well, he's already 36. By the time he's getting like the fight that he should have got when he was 31, 32, 33, now that little bit of rust, or not rust, but that age starts to factor in. And Canelo
first fight, it was a first fight, wasn't it a draw?
It was a draw.
Okay.
It was a draw, and then they gave it to Canelo.
Year, another year later.
Another year.
So I mean, he was way past his prime at that point.
That's my issue, right? And then Canelo just left his zone, or did he leave the zone, or did he leave Golden Boy? Or he left Oscar. He's a free agent now, and I think he booked the fight today with Caleb Smith. So I'm a big boxing guy. I don't talk about boxing enough, but you guys want to talk about football. So, but yeah, I am thrilled with the young talent that I'm seeing. But and I have to add the brother Shakur Stevenson to that mix as well. But in terms of the question, Crawford's going to win. These are easy fights for him. Kell Brook was dead after Terrence. What's his name? Earl Spence killed him.
Earl Spence, yeah.
Earl Spence just annihilated that brother in his hometown, by the way. What are we thinking about Herm Edwards? For who?
for Texas? He won't leave for Texas.
No.
I agree, Edward. Lomachenko definitely waited too long. We were texting back and forth on that one. You and I.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Ryan Garcia too. Is another one. There's a lot of good.
Shout out to
Friday.
ESPN for actually playing that one live.
Oh yeah, no pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Arum was like, uh, just sucking up the rest if he can out of Lomachenko. He's another one that don't be surprised if they start to push him to the side a little bit. Unfortunately, Bob Arum does that to fighters. That's why Terrence Crawford can't lose. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up, Tran. It was a good chat. Appreciate you guys. What was the light goal? We didn't even set the light goal. We were just talking.
Real quick, Tate, do you think Texas can win out? Yes, they can. It's very manageable, the schedule. Transfer defensive coordinator. I get fired for saying something I shouldn't say in the coordinator press conference.
Oh boy. You know, it's funny. Somebody said this earlier. Don't sleep on Kell Brook. Why not? I'm sleep, Spencer. Not Kell Brook, and it's not. I know he can box. This isn't. My thing is, at some point, it's kind of like the Amir Khan thing, right? Like Amir Khan can box, and he boxed very well against Canelo. My thing is, when you've been broken in the ring, that matters. And I've seen him broken.
Before this, we were talking about Tyson versus RJJ.
Roy Jones.
Yeah. Roy Jones was my guy, but when Tarver caught him with that right hook, after that he wasn't
Never the same fighter.
Ever again.
Never the same fighter. Like, you look the same, but there's something that leaves when you get hit like that. I've seen guys get broken, man. Like this brother, this Santa Cruz, the way he got knocked out by Tank Davis with that uppercut. I like Leo Santa Cruz, hard-working fighter, very talented, great production. He's not going to be the same. Even if Leo Santa Cruz goes back down in weight, he's never going to be the same again.
Can Texas win out? Is Jersey a real show?
Is the Jersey a real show? Next on Dragon Ball Z. Yo, you guys, Trent, did you find the link?
I did. I sent it in. I sent it in earlier. Yeah.
Okay. The Jersey was a real show. I'm gonna find some sort of. I don't care if they restrict my channel or demonetize me. I do care, but I will find some Jersey content. I'll either put it on Twitter. Guys, make sure you're following. Make sure you hit the like button. All social media platforms. Yeah, it happens in the UFC too. Rashad Evans is another one that you get blasted.
The Dragon Machida
the Dragon Machida had it as well.
Rashad Evans actually talked about it. It's like after getting rocked a couple times like that, he said he started taking mushrooms just to get his mind cleared. He talked about it on Joe Rogan.
Samuels, the Jersey is as real as my relationship with Beyonce. Cap! The disrespect I've received today, the disrespect that the show, the Jersey, received today. Look, I also don't want to. I'm hyping it based upon 11-year-old Steve being hyped by the Jersey, because I have not seen that show or watched it since. And I understand that there's times, and we all have shows, Trent, I'm sure you have shows that you grew up with, or even movies, where you're like, that was the greatest movie ever. And then you watch it again, you're like, bro, that shit did not age well.
Yeah.
Like Blank Check.
Yeah, we were talking about
You watch it, you couldn't make a movie like that today, because all this guy was doing was committing crimes and fraud, and then he was sexually molested by the FBI agent, and she kissed him. She made out with the guy at the end of the film, and it ruined the boy's life. Look at that guy that played that boy. Look him up. He's not doing well today. If you ever see the movie Blank Check. But at the time watching Blank Check, I'm like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
They will never create content like that ever again. Y'all go back and watch Blank Check, yo. It doesn't age as well as you thought. The other guy picked them up, like the bad guys, said something very, very nasty to the little boy in the movie. It was just like, whoa, what is going on here? Oh man, this is the after hours of the chat where we just start rambling because it's funny. Oh man, Forrest Griffin after Silva, that's a good one. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about at least there. But I'm not making stuff up with the jersey. That's all I'm saying. Spencer, you got money on this. Spencer, you got money on this. He was fighting really well till his eye socket got broke. Are you Kel Brooks' cousin? You know, hey, that's like the OU tweet that came out this week where they were complaining about pass interference in the first quarter of the LSU game, and they were like, man, if this call had gone the other way, this game would have been completely different. It's like,
It didn't, though.
Yo, by 70. This early pass, talk about Stingley. They were like, look at Stingley just harassed Jaden Hazelwood. This call goes the other way. That drive stays alive. We tie this thing up, man. Okay.
Yeah. I want to see Adesanya and Bones Jones, too. With that said, we won't see it.
Nah, I think Bones going to heavyweight.
Yeah. He's already said that.
Yeah. Joshua Moore, Dustin. Yeah, you called in. He's another one. He has to get healthier. He's battling a shoulder. They said minor shoulder injury. I think if he's ready to go, you need to see him play against Kansas because he didn't have a catch last game, and he's been hasn't been targeted enough.
But he saved the fumble.
Mark Vasquez, I wore this shirt because of Tim Duncan stepping down today. So that's another reason. There's a lot of Spurs stuff coming up, so that's why I wore the shirt. So thank you for mentioning Timmy. That's why I got a tear right here because it makes me so sad that he's leaving us again. But yeah, Joshua Moore, we need him to be good, productive again. And we need to move him around.
We need to also get him easy catches. Just to get the comfort level with Sam and him.
Yeah, it's like, here's your target, a 30-yard jump ball, which he can go get.
Yeah, he can, but not with the accuracy issues that Sam has shown this year. No, get him the little wide receiver screen pass. Let him catch it. Let him make a play. Then maybe throwing a quick slant for him. Move the chains. Then you could start taking your chances with him. Don't just do it right away.
Yep. I appreciate everybody that donated during the chat. We're over. Yes, absolutely. We're over 2 hours now, so we're definitely going to wrap this up. Hit that wrap it up box. Yo, wrap it up, B. I got my wife watching Chappelle's show now, so
it's on Netflix. She's never seen it.
Netflix. She had never seen it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's been a really fun last few days watching her
reliving it. Yeah,
reliving the skits for the first time. Yeah. She's laughing. And there's skits you forget about, too, right? Like the 3 Dave skit, which I completely forgot about.
Oh,
yeah. Just whole
I lickety love you.
There's so many. Yeah, man. So many. But I was like, yo, wrap it up, B. And she's like, now I know why you always say that. Because I've been saying that our whole relationship. She has no idea what I'm talking about. Yo, wrap it up, B. So I know a lot of people hitting the wrap it up box right now. No. Jordan, no. We're both saying no to the same thing. We didn't even say what, but couldn't be made today. No. All right.
It's on our win streak because it's starting to grow back. Because I still get blamed for last year. Last year's team for cutting my hair right beforehand.
I said it was when Samson cut his locks. We just watched Player Heritage Ball the other night.
Great, probably one of the greatest sketches for that.
especially since watching the behind the scenes, they said all those rankouts that they're going back and forth on were all improv. So
Yeah, man. Rest in peace. You know, Patrice Neal, Charlie Murphy. You know, I wish whatever. You know, those are guys. All those just legends, right? You know, because they're peers, right? Like those guys are all there. You know, Bill Burr was heavily involved at the time. Joe Rogan made an appearance on the show, right? Like you see how they've ascended, right? Like in that whole little because they talk about being in the room at like different comedy sellers when they were very young comics, Kevin Hart included, and just trying to come up. And you know, Patrice was on that same level with like Craig Robinson and all those guys, right? And losing him, Charlie Murphy was a late bloomer, you know, kind of coming out of his brother's shadow and became such a star after the
after Chappelle show,
after the
True Hollywood Stories.
True Hollywood Stories of Rick
I
James and Prince.
I actually like him playing Tyreek in the Mad Real World.
Oh, I'm forgetting about my man Darnell too.
Donnell
So
Rollins.
yeah, I mean, just so many. That's the other thing. Like he always surrounds himself with talent. Neil, look at Neil. Neil's a star, right? Like all these guys, you know that. So it makes me sad that Patrice isn't around to see that. You know, they all every time they do interviews, they always end up talking about Patrice at some point, you know, or making fun of him. Like 15 years later, they're like, yeah, we've got to make fun of Patrice now. You know?
LG with the Eddie Murphy, which delirious quote, ice cream. The ice cream man is coming.
Oh man, I love you. I love you guys, man. I needed this today. This is funny. All right. I don't know how we still have 100+ people in here just listening to us ramble.
About comedians.
Right. Yeah. So Tran, for those who don't know, if you want to get Tran talking about stuff, um, Texas football, Spurs basketball, stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Because you've seen more people than anybody I know, like in person. Like Tran is, you know, he knows about up and coming comedians. You know, you put me on to Mo, all
Hammer.
sorts of people.
He's a
Yeah,
Texas boy.
yeah.
No, yeah, I just think it's such a unique profession. I mean, you know, it's easy to make, you know, your friends laugh and everything like that, but to go into a new state, you know, because different regions have different humor, you know, and to try to make all types of regions laugh, a huge crowd of them make them laugh. You know, it's I think it's extremely impressive.
Shout out to my buddy Steve out there, who I know is not watching right now because he's not a Texas fan. But Steve took me. Somebody brought up Tom Segura. Tom Segura did a taping at the Paramount
In Austin, yeah.
here in Austin, and Steve took me to the taping. So shout out to Steve. Tom Segura, very funny. He also has a very funny podcast as well.
There's like 6 podcasts.
Yeah, he does a lot, and he's doing stuff with Bert.
Yeah, Bill Burr just announced
Bill
that he was
Burr's
going
my
to do
dude,
something
though.
here. No, he's supposed to be coming in about a month, but it's sold out right away because I was trying to get us tickets, but it's a small one at Nutty Brown.
So I posted this on IG. So those of you guys who follow us, and if you don't follow us on IG, make sure you hit the links in the description. I think last year, right? You got us tickets
Chappelle.
to Chappelle, and it was my first time seeing Chappelle in person. But it wasn't just seeing Chappelle in person. It was seeing Chappelle in a room that was next to the Paramount. It wasn't even the Paramount, right? Like this is how dope this was.
Yeah.
It was next to the Paramount. For those who aren't in Austin, Paramount's, you know, nice, beautiful theater downtown, legendary downtown, on Congress. And right next door is, I think it's called Paramount Next Door, and that's where we saw Chappelle. But it was like impromptu. Chappelle's coming to Austin. He's working on stuff. Like it was like the working on stuff. Like just maybe got 20 minutes of his set down. The rest is just going to be him just rolling. And that was one of the best nights of my life, dude. And I thank you all the time for that. Met Tyler, the creator, that night. And that was dope. But Chappelle, and it was the reason why I was able to meet people like Tyler created that night.
200 people.
It was 200 people in the room.
Yeah.
That was it. It was 200 people in the room and Dave Chappelle for hours. Wonderful moment. Wonderful moment.
Yeah, Josh Wolf is pretty good. He's a pretty good comedian.
I don't even know who Josh Wolf is. You got to put me on to him.
He's actually standing in for Brian Callen for Fighter and the Kid for a lot of episodes. He's pretty
I know
good.
his face.
You've probably seen him. He was on like a lot of you know when they have the comedians like comment on certain things like I love the 80s or something like that.
Oh yeah.
He's on some of those.
Okay. Yeah, Tran. Anytime I talk about stand up, or I want to talk about stand up, or I want to know the who's who. Like everybody always has that friend. If you want to know about like music, that friend is just so far ahead of everybody else in music. I'm like I'd like to think I'm like the sports friend in that world. Tran is the
100%.
comedy. Tran is like the comedy friend. Like if it's like, yo, who's this new like or actor is like funny. He's like, yo, I saw that guy in concert 5 years ago. What? I met that guy. Like he's like, I met this person or whatever. So yeah, man, it's just dope. We all have that friend like that just puts you on to stuff though. And I've definitely your knowledge of comedians and their bits and timing and all that, you're a big fan of identifying who the next stars are out there. All right. Now I've said all right like 7 times, but
they keep on getting us, keep on drawing us back in.
I know.
So you gotta tell us about honestly, real quick. You gotta tell us about your favorite episode of the Jersey. And don't say the Steve. What's his name? God, what?
Steve Young.
Steve Young one. What's?
I think there was one. Somebody brought up Jason Sehorn earlier. There was definitely a Jason Sehorn episode. I just remember liking the show. Like I honestly can't tell you that much about it other than how they would get in these situations. They'd put the jersey on and then be at the sporting event.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, I literally have not seen this show since I was a child, right? Like there's some things that are hard to find. Like I'll throw out another Disney one. Like everybody, like a lot of people talk about like, you know, some of the more popular stuff like Hocus Pocus and other ones and, you know, things that people watch all the time. But we growing up, what the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
What are you doing, bro? You better go in timeout. A lot of stuff that we grew up on, right? And I grew up on another movie.
Oh, come on now.
I grew up on another movie called Don't Look Under the Bed. And a lot of people, again, I may be out of my pocket, and people be like, what the fuck is Don't Look Under the Bed? Sorry for cursing. What is Don't Look Under the Bed? I'm like, yo, you want to talk about a movie with the boogeyman that was actually scary for children? At the time it came out, that movie messed me up. Yo, as like a 7-year-old. But again, somebody may say I'm making something up. But and I'm gonna see in the comments if anybody's ever somebody say you're making this up too. Go Google. Don't Look Under the Bed. Disney. Like maybe I was just a Disney kid. My brother and I that's the one time I wish I had my brother on here. I will never bring my brother on this channel because he's a rational sports fan.
He's another fake
my
movie.
brother. My brother, let me just tell you about my little brother. We have the same level of passion for sports. The problem is, as level-headed as I think that I am or try to be, he's the complete opposite. He will get on here and within 15 minutes start spewing all sorts of hot takes. He's very irrational. He can never be on this channel. However, we do talk all the time because we love each other and it's hilarious. He's also one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. And the thing is, we watch these movies together because we're only 3 years apart. And so, see, so some of y'all do know about Don't Look Under the Bed. I'm not tripping, yo. All right, Nathan, have a good night. I'm not tripping. It's not another fake. Oh, so hold on. So you know about Don't Look at JR official. So you know about Don't Look Under the Bed, but you don't know about the jersey? Wow. How do you know about Don't Look Under the Bed? You're only 24, unless that movie's not as old as I think it is. Anyway, it's just something I wanted to touch on. But my brother,
Tommy, I'm with you on Coming to America. I watch that with my dad every single Christmas.
Jenna James said, I'm a mid-90s kid. Respect. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. See, like I aged out of that. I was already too old. Even I know what those shows are and seen episodes, but I was too old. Yeah, Disney Channel Halloween specials were dope. Halloween Town. Don't Look Under the Bed. Somebody said Vampire in Brooklyn. Eddie Murphy special. Eddie Murphy special right there. What was his name? Like Maximilian in that movie? Vampire in Brooklyn.
With the Jerry curl and all.
And the terrible graphics.
Or did he have a Jerry curl or a perm in that one?
Oh, you're right. He had a perm.
He had a perm, yeah.
He had a perm. You're right. All right. We should watch this back and see how many times I did the all right. You know when you're about to get up, you want to leave somebody's house and get going, and your wife keeps giving you the look, and she keeps looking at her phone.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
And you just there rapping with your boy, not paying her no. You know she knows she wants to go. But you keep turning
an interesting topic came up. Like you have to internally weigh out, like, should I deal with the anger.
At this point, right? You do have to weigh it out because it's already at the point where you're like, I'm gonna get cussed out in the car either way. At this point.
Yeah, we've gone too far tonight.
We've reached the point of no return. Are you afraid of the dark? Oh yeah. So don't sleep on the Nickelodeon stuff.
See, I was more of a Nick guy than a Nickelodeon guy than a Disney Channel guy.
You know why? Because Nickelodeon was on regular cable, and at that time, you had to have Disney Channel. Like you had to order that separate, right? So I was not rich by any means. This is the only reason why I had Disney Channel growing up. And this has everything to do with boxing. My father, being the boxing fanatic that he was and still is, my father and I still talk boxing. We had like a cable box, and he had a scrambler. The thing is, though, my brother and I figured out that the scrambler could get other channels other than the pay-per-views. It could get every channel.
Yeah.
So that's how we started watching Disney Channel, was because we had a scrambler. Hopefully he does not get arrested all these years later that we were stealing cable. But that's why we had the Disney.
That's your limitations. He's straight. If you go by the date of what the jersey is, you're good to go because that's way past 7 years.
He had a scrambler, man. Yep. Oh, trust me, when my negative, my friends, the friends you always have where your parents are like, is it okay if this person hangs around my child, blah, blah, blah. That's when they found all the after dark channels as well, right? They're like, your dad has what? I'll be over for dinner. Friday night. Yep. So, oh, so much fun. Everybody stole cable in the 90s. Yo, stealing cable was so adventurous, I feel like. Like I remember like seeing the price on this on of like cuz like a Tyson fight. You remember Tyson fights like
$99, wasn't it?
not, bread. And it's like, damn, we watching this for free. And it's clear. You know what I mean? Yeah. The boxes, there was a special type of cable box. Some of you guys are old enough to know exactly what I'm talking about. Where I was from, we called it a scrambler.
Yeah.
May have been called different names.
D-scrambler, whatever, yeah. I watched actually my first Tyson fight where it was the Holyfield one where he bit his ear off at my uncle's house.
Oh, that was the second fight where he bit his ear.
Yeah, but that was the first fight that I saw.
That was the first.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. I got you.
And it was off of a scrambler too.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then of course, you got those things. Like I know he got it because he had a friend that worked for the cable company. And they knew it was just like you just put in you just programmed the code and could scramble the box.
Yeah.
Boom, we got you the channels. We had that thing for years. We had that thing for a long, through I was in high school. I got up to high school until we realized, cable boxes changed and all that type of stuff, and we couldn't scramble anymore. They figured it out. Yeah, it's just like jailbreaking a Fire Stick. EJ Wright said I definitely stole cable in the 90s. Yeah, I know. I ain't the only person that was out here doing that. Yeah. All right. I love reminiscing with y'all. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Bi-week chat. Hopefully we can come out next live. Next week, so I'm gonna just throw this out here, and I haven't even asked Tran, but I'm sure he's cool with it. Next week, I think we should get Billy and Brandon on the channel for another live and do another round.
Has anyone did a pulse of Billy lately?
I sent out a smoke signal and a raven. I did send out a raven to Billy.
He has the ultimate trump card on us, though. He goes,
yeah, he just came off a
last
natty.
year. Yeah, I could just watch last year.
He came off a natty. So for those who don't know, our friend Billy is as much as we love Texas, he loves LSU, and our friend Brandon is a huge A&M fan. And I feel bad for Brandon too, because A&M is having a fantastic season, balling. In my opinion, could make the playoffs. Right? It actually really is in nice position to make the playoffs because they can kind of ease in as that second SEC team, having beat Florida already. Georgia has 2 losses, and then one of those SEC East teams, assuming they lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game, he should be good as an A&M fan if they win out. So, but now it's like, dude, right when we start balling, we get the COVID outbreak. So it's like, bro, he's like, this is my life as an Aggie fan. It's funny. Oh man, I appreciate y'all. At some point,
can I jump in real quick?
Tate, go ahead.
Tate, the way you can support us is just honestly just share the content, like and share the content. That does wonders for us, honestly, and we appreciate you spending all your time writing nice messages here, and also questions and just joking along with us. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And if you want, we can put a PayPal or a Venmo in the description after I didn't put it in this one, but I can add that on there if you really feel like you want to donate to the channel, because eventually we're gonna update equipment and all that type of stuff. But like as Tran said, number one way to support we're just fellow fans, just hanging out with our boys like a big Zoom call. It's great. Now, what was I gonna say? There was something else. Somebody had asked me a question earlier. thought somebody asked me a question. I'm sorry. Nah, I appreciate you guys. No. Um, it's been fun just hanging out, talking, going through this. It's 11 now, so on our side. Oh, for a year or two, we had tree cable because a friend of my mom. Hold on, this was see.
Wait,
Always,
hold on. What? Wait, what?
uh, Donato's RV said for a year or two we had free cable because a friend of my mom worked for the cable company and gave us a card that allowed the cable to go through. That's exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yo, I love it. People were out here. Let me see what our what's the Venmo? I don't even know what my Venmo name is. Do you guys have Cash App? I'll put my Venmo here, but we do have whatever thing y'all have at S and Gotti 106's Venmo. Did you come here via RJ Young? Hopefully we can get back with him after Texas. We meet up again in the Big 12 championship. That'll be some more good content with RJ.
I think he'll be a little bit more confident than he was this time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now it's always fun talking trash to RJ. He's just through this whole journey, he's become a good friend and been very helpful to us in behind the scenes and has been, representing this community very, very well.
And he's an OU fan that actually knows our team, too.
The OU fans know our team so well.
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, he actually he's not like one of those OU fans that focus more so on our team than they do their teams.
You mean like the OU fan that said Ronnie Perkins was better than Joseph Osai this week, and then Ronnie to me on Twitter, and then Ronnie Perkins completely untagged comes onto my thread and like that guy's tweet. You talking about those OU fans?
Yes.
When I made a tweet, when I was retweeting Texas football, just talking about Joseph Osai, and they come out of nowhere talk about Ronnie Perkins is better than Joseph Osai. Like, and he came on and liked his own tweet. It was like, man, brother, you thirsty? Oh man, I love it. We're excited. Is this we haven't done a live in a long time. I think that's why this is our career long on the live. My computer's about to destroy itself because it's recording so much of this. But yep. All right. So 227. I appreciate everybody. Hopefully y'all saw the Venmo if anybody wants for Tate that was asking. But yeah, this has been great. Share the content. A lot of you guys are in Reddit groups. I've been getting some tagged in Reddit groups, Discord groups, Facebook private groups. So one of the things, people always ask us like, why are we not bigger? Why do we only have 7,000 subscribers when the UT football community is so large? And there's people out there that have, 60, 70,000 followers. One of the things is the platform that we're on. I think a lot of our fan base just doesn't know. They're not aware. As we move along in the industry, streaming, people are consuming content from a mobile perspective, and so for us, it's very, very helpful. Yes, Longhorn Nation on Reddit. For those of you who have been sharing our stuff on the Reddit Longhorn Nation, we appreciate it. We need more of that throughout. 24/7 message boards. We've been tagged there. I've seen that. Orange Bloods, we've been tagged there. So just wherever you guys go, if you want to have people check out other fans, right? We have a different view than the people that do this full time. They do a fantastic job covering the team. We're just offering a view from our own angle. Is fans and people that pay for the merchandise, right?
Yeah.
Like to support the football team. All right. Yeah, chat room, we got to let the old heads in on this, fellas. Yeah, it's a lot of old heads that only have their couple, message boards or that they're comfortable with, and they just don't know. Because one of the most common messages we got is, "How did I not know about you guys?" Right. So, thank you. But with that being said, Tran, thank you for jumping on, taking
Of course.
2.5 hours out of your night.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. It's fun. This was a fun one, man.
This was really fun.
It's great to come off of a 3-game win streak, going into a bye, and just getting to just chat and just have fun.
Agreed. All right, y'all. You know how we end it. Horns always up. Thank you.